Let's talk about Kegels. They have their time and place. I'm not saying you should never do a Kegel. Some people may benefit from that concentric engagement, that toning and lifting. Of course, also the release and lengthen. But there are other ways to help strengthen your pelvic floor. I love to look at how to strengthen the muscles that support the pelvis so the pelvic floor doesn't have to do too much and then get perhaps too tight. So yes, Kegels have their place, but let's look at some other exercises you can do. One of my favorite, donkey kicks. So try it. We're gonna get on all fours. This one I like to use a block. So I'm using a yoga block and I'm wedging it between my heel and my sit bone. And then from here, I'm making sure I don't arch my back. I'm trying to stay really well balanced between my pelvis and ribs. And then I'm just going to lift and lower that leg. So I'm going to show the yoga don't. Big arch in the back, big kind of slump in the shoulders. So I'm trying to keep everything really neutral and lift and lower. And you'll do that with both legs. Another great one, so that's going to get the hamstring and glutes. Another one that I do in a lot of my yoga classes, it's from a side plank position. So I'm lengthening my tailbone to my back heel, weight in my front hand, hand on my hip, and then I'll lift the leg. And then you can do it a few ways. We're just going to lift and lower. Now you can lift the leg and lift your heel and lead with your heel. So now I'm getting some internal rotation. Great, and of course we're going to do it on both sides. Next, we're going to stand up and look at how to do some adduction. So I'm going to strengthen my inner thighs, and abduction, strengthen my outer hips, and then a little bit more for your glutes and hamstrings. So let's stand up, let's do it. So let's look at Romanian deadlifts. These are fantastic for strengthening your hamstring and glutes. I'm going to show from the side. So I'm feet hip distance apart, and I'm going to put my weight into my right leg, and then with a knee-to-knee position, I'll be on the ball of my back foot. Now these are great to do, maybe you have some weights, maybe you're just doing it with your own body weight. So I'm going to hip hinge. So I'm going to reach my hips back, keeping my sacrum, upper back, and crown the inside back of the head nice and long. So I've got my imaginary weights. So I'm coming here, I'm going to pause. Now I'm pressing my standing leg into the floor with my imaginary weights. I'll take an inhale, and as I exhale, I'm actively pushing my heel into the floor to come up. I'll inhale, coming down. I'll pause for a breath, pressing down into the floor, not a ton of weight on this leg. And then as I exhale, press all the way up. Now what I love about the kickstand one is it's great if you have pubic pain or SI pain because you're still on two legs. If you find that's irritating your pubis or your sacrum, you can still do this with two legs. So pulling, letting the hips reach back, nice long spine. I've got my imaginary weights. And then exhale, pressing into the floor to come up. So that's targeting the glutes and the hamstrings. Another fun one is using either a yoga block or maybe you have a big ball that you can use, and I'm putting some adductor strength in. So I'm squeezing to the midline. We do this in yoga in Utkatasana, we do it in down dog, we do it in bridge. So I'm pressing in, so I'm getting some adductor strength. That's really good if you tend to be a little duck walking and you get very elongated adductors. Now, so that was the inner leg, but let's look at the outer leg. So here I have just a Pilates band. You could use a TheraBand. You could even tie a scarf around. So here I'm stepping into my band, putting it at my mid thighs, and then I'm going to do what's called a little crab walk. So I'm coming to one side of my mat, hands to my hips, and I'm just going out and in, out and in. So I'm getting down my outer legs. So we've done the back of the legs in a few different ways. We've done the inner legs, and now I'm doing the outer legs. So these are a few wonderful positions and postures you can do to strengthen the supporting muscles around the pelvis so you don't have to rely on Kegels. They're not a one-size-fits-all exercise, but having stability and strength in your pelvis can help with your pelvic health. So make sure you follow for more tips on pregnancy, birth, and labor. Hope this helped.